Have you noticed your gym workouts are not as effective as they used to be? Have you noticed that your hairline is slowly retreating or thinning? Are you waking up in the morning and you have a little bit more brain fog? Well, here's the truth. All of those signs are a part of getting older, and Mother Nature is always the winner. But that doesn't mean we have to roll over and give up. It means we have to adapt, evolve, and get smarter about how we live. So in today's video, you'll learn how to spot the signs that you're getting older, how to help yourself, and adapt mentally and physically. I'm going to be giving some tips on supplements, training regimes, mental exercises, and embracing the process. And hopefully by the end of this video, you'll feel a bit better about yourself and where you're going in life. Hi everyone, welcome back to the autobiography. This video is about getting older and how to embrace the change. So I've broken this down into 3 sections. The first one is actually identifying the signs that you are getting older. I want to talk about the positives of getting older. And then finally, I want to focus on how to deal with it. So let's talk about some of the signs that you're getting older. And again, this is a very personal video, so hopefully you can relate. So I'm approaching my 40s. And recently, maybe a few months ago, I did a testosterone check to see what my testosterone levels were. I'll put the link up there. Now, the purpose behind that was, and I think it's really good to understand where you are at in regards to hormones, because that will help you kind of rationalize where you are. I wasn't getting the same benefits I was getting in the gym that I used to get. I went through the whole process. So again, I highly recommend you watch that video. But that's when I started to notice the next sign was around good old male pattern baldness. Now for me, I'll put some photos up. My hair was getting quite thin, and it was getting quite messy, and there was quite a lot of patches. And I remember a couple of years ago, I had to make a really conscious decision. Now you can see the decision that I've made, and I got there eventually, but it took me about 12 months of going backwards and forwards in my head about, do I have a hair transplant? Do I just let it grow out? Or do I shave it off? Another sign for me was I noticed I couldn't do the same weight. I was becoming more injury prone. So I've always been very active, and I mentioned this on the channel before. I started working out when I was 14, and I had a natural hunger, and I still do in regards to physical exercise. But now I can do a good old 45-minute workout, and you're not getting the same results. And linking in with a testosterone drop, apart from the workouts and the results, is fatigue in the morning. Lower levels of testosterone can result in fatigue and mental fogginess. And that's one thing I've noticed. I naturally wake up a little bit more earlier now because of my son, but overall it takes me a good hour to really kick into the day. So those were some of the signs of getting older. But I also want to talk about some of the benefits of getting older, because it's not all doom and gloom. So let's talk about some of the benefits of getting older. So I don't play as many video games as I used to. I'm more of a grand strategy PC type of gamer, and I'll be lucky if I get on once a week. But that's more of a choice now, rather than a commitment that I made in the past. And aligned to that is, as you get older and you get more established, and we've talked about this on the channel before, you're more comfortable with yourself and your career progression. You want to be more productive, and you want to get more out of life. So with that productivity, what you're doing is you're valuing your time more. You appreciate that you need to do more with your time. And those could be things such as playing the piano, exercise, mindfulness, reading, spending time with friends and family, going for walks, being out in nature, and having experiences. I think as you get older, you become less needy on materialistic things, and you're more focused. This is again just a personal thing for me. I tend to focus more on experiences and making memories rather than having things. Objects and material wealth, if you call it that, is actually a burden. And I like to live my life as simply as possible, which ties in nicely to the final main positive. Would you have more a clear purpose? I think once you settle down and you're in a long-term relationship, you might get married, you might have a child, but once you settle down, your priorities come more clear. So let's talk about if you are experiencing thinning hair or hair loss, how do you overcome it? Making the commitment of, all right, this is the path I'm going to go down. Once you make that commitment to yourself, you'll be fine with it. It's just making the decision that can sometimes take a long time. And especially when you look at yourself in the mirror and that's a physical sign of aging, that's quite a hard thing to overcome. But you just need to go, this is where I'm at in life. I've had some good years with my hair. What am I going to do next? Again, like I mentioned, I like to keep it as simple as possible, hence why I just shaved it off. Moving on to the gym. So for those that don't know, I used to be a personal trainer, so I'm qualified in my personal training. And with that, I used to do a lot of heavy lifting. So my squat PB, for example, is about 145. I believe I got up to 200 kg for the deadlift. I have got a video somewhere of me doing a 400 kilo leg press. I'll try and find the video, I'll put it up there if it's not already playing. But what I'm basically saying is I used to do a lot of strength training. And as you get older, whether it's due to lifestyle or you don't warm up and cool down as much as you used to, because again, you are limited, a little bit more limited for time in regards to work and childcare and those aspects, you need to think about your training regimen. So I used to go from lifting, heavy lifting. I've always done functional exercise because I used to do kickboxing. So I always wanted to have some kind of mobility and functional movement. I still do to this day. But now I do a lot more bodyweight exercises. The max kettlebells I lift is 20 kg. And that's basically it. And the whole purpose now for me in regards to working out is to feel good, but not to get injured. That's the main goal. I've injured myself too many times in the last 4 or 5 years because you're not listening to your body. But in listening to your body and how you're reacting to workouts is such an important thing. And as you're getting older, it's just acknowledging that. So this is where you go from, you won't be able to do what you used to do in your mid-20s unless you're taking some kind of Mexican supplements or TRT and those types of things. So again, I focus on joint health, range of motion, and recovery. And then, don't get me wrong, I still do a bit of strength, but it's definitely not to the weights I've just mentioned prior. One of the biggest things that you can do is acknowledge that you are getting older. You will feel it. It's a slow progression. It's not something like you just wake up and you are older or you feel older. But it's when you see yourself in the mirror and you just every day, your hair's getting a little bit thinner, your muscle mass might be dropping, you might feel sluggish. This is the acknowledgement that you're going to have to just say, right, everyone talks about this. I'm sure you've heard lots of people talk about this. This isn't something new. It's more acknowledge it. Acknowledging that you are getting old is quite a hard process. And then you can make a plan to move forward. So once you've acknowledged it, what do you do next? I've already mentioned some of them here. But in regards to diet, for example, make sure your diet is as clean as possible. Take supplements. So the supplements I take, multivit, cod liver oil, protein shakes. That's pretty much it. There's a lot of research whether you need all that, but again, I just take it more just for the sake of it. You might as well. But you are going to have to just make that commitment that you are getting older. So like I mentioned, if you're experiencing hair loss, what are you going to do? And make a decision. If you feel your gym workouts and you're not getting the results that you need, have a look at things like your testosterone first of all, because that will just give you, if you've got any concerns around testosterone, and understanding where you are will help you validate what's going on in your body. And one way of looking at it is stop looking backwards to what you used to do. Think ahead about where you're going. Everyone thinks that the 20s was great, but when you really look back, you didn't know half as much as you know now, and you think you knew a lot back then. Think about all the lessons that you're going to learn going forward, and the best years of your life are ahead of you. If you get your health, your training, your nutrition, your sleep, your mindfulness, your mental health, what else do you need in life? People talk about wealth and money, but as long as you are mentally wealthy, that is the key for a happy life as you're getting older. But as you're getting older, one of the best things you can do is embrace new challenges. I'll give you an example. So I used to do a lot of Thai boxing. Been doing Thai boxing since 2007, 2008. I did a bit of jiu-jitsu, I did a bit of wrestling. So I lived in Canada for a little bit. And that's where I learned that. And I thought, this isn't for me. The ground game grappling, it wasn't really for me. So I did Thai boxing. I mentioned it on the channel before, but having that suffering, having that kind of discipline to still turn up, put yourself in uncomfortable situations, being quite frankly scared, but then you overcome it, you learn you can do it, and actually you progress. That's all about life. It's about embracing the challenge. But as you get older, you need to embrace new challenges. So again, for me, and again, the whole reason I set up this channel, example, cold plunging. That is my new mental game. So I don't do sparring or anything like that in regards to Thai boxing anymore, but cold plunges are the equivalent. It's something every day. Again, we talk about the 1% a day growth. Doing something every day that scares you. Find something that is a new challenge. You'll hear me say physical, mental, spiritual. Physical, the cold plunge. That also helps your mental and your spiritual. So let's do a quick summary. We've talked about some of the signs of getting old, especially from a man's viewpoint, in all honesty, in regards to hair loss, low testosterone, not getting the same results, lack of mental clarity. We've also talked about some of the benefits. Not wasting your time on video games, for example, being more productive with your time, investing in yourself, and overall your priorities become more clear. And we've also talked about how to deal with it, whether it's supplementation, changing your training regime, finding a new challenge, and the most important thing is acknowledgement. Acknowledge that you are at the stage of life. Try not to look back. You had your 20s when you had your 20s, but now you can take all your lessons that you learned from your 20s and apply them to where you're going. So I hope you found that useful. There's lots of videos in the channel so far where I've talked about life lessons, cold plunging. So feel free to like and share this video. Feel free to subscribe. Leave a comment below if you have experienced this. And again, I want to create a community where it's a safe space for you to kind of leave comments and we can help and support one another. This is Chris from The Autobiography signing off. Thank you very much. See you next time. Bye.